You feeling the hype? The PS5 Pro is finally here and ready to deliver the ultimate console experience. Disk drive not included.
We've got some exciting news out of the Nintendo world regarding the Palworld lawsuit and also the Switch 2. We're going to talk about all this stuff and a whole bunch more right now on Gaming News Weekly. What's up, everybody? It's time for another episode of Gaming News Weekly, the best weekly video game news show out there. Every single Monday, you can find us bringing you all the biggest news in the video game industry on TikTok, YouTube, and podcast services everywhere. My name is E-Rock the Red. As always, I am joined by this man right here, the Full Clip. What's going on, dude? How are you?
How's it going? Doing all right? Ready to jump into this week's gaming news. But first, something monumental happened over this past week. You and I don't even know if you're aware of it, but you and I got into a couple matches of Call of Duty together.
I am aware of it. It took me a minute, though, because I was like, fuck. I was like messing around with the, I don't know, the barracks or whatever. And all of a sudden I went to go start a game and they're like, no, you can't play a game. And I'm like, what is happening?
Wow.
Like, because I was playing quick play and it included free-for-all in the quick play list. So they're like, you can't play this. And then I realized, I was like, oh shit, he's here. The king. He's arrived. And
I didn't
shut
do
that
anything.
off.
We're talking about the entire run of games that we played.
Yeah. But yeah, it was fun. I was terrible. What night was that? It was like a weeknight, right?
No. Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
Monday,
I was
Tuesday,
exhausted. Yeah. I was like, man, I'm shitting the bed here on. I was trying some new things, dude. This is my excuse. I was like, I'm gonna try to do these daily, the daily quests here, and it was I don't know. It was something different guns that I'm not used to, and that's my excuse for my poor performance. But yeah, I'm having fun with it still. I'm still finding time to get in there. Did you prestige?
I felt so nice I did it twice. Yes.
Oh.
So now I'm halfway through second prestige. I say halfway. You're not really halfway when you're like level 25 because it scales up the further you go. But that double XP weekend last weekend did wonders for my level. So yeah.
Gotcha.
Second prestige, level 25, I want to say, and it's probably going to take a little bit longer to prestige again without the double XP flowing.
Nice, very nice. You're still having fun. It's not a chore yet. Getting those ammo or camos and shit.
The camo grind definitely feels like a chore at times, just to get through certain weapons. Once you get through one, though, you get it gold. You can switch to the next one, and it makes everything feel a lot fresher. You're running around again. The problem is I'm trying to get diamond launchers. I got the first one gold. I'm working on the second one, but one of the pro challenges there is to get, let's say, 3 enemy kill streaks specifically destroyed within the same match. And in the description of this launcher, it says it locks onto enemies' kill streaks. It does not. So you have to get real lucky. You have to like manually aim in at the UAVs and the counter UAVs. And that can be very, very challenging depending on which map you're on. Plus, you got to compete with other people trying to do the same exact thing. They've got the lock-on launcher. They're always going to beat you to the punch. So I'm going to put that in the back seat for a little bit. Try these. I'm close to having all the SMGs gold, so I'll continue there for a little bit.
Okay. All right. Last Black Ops question, then we'll move on. Are you going to get the Battle Pass? Season 1 joint when it comes out.
I'll probably play like the free version of it for a little while because you get all the good stuff anyway. And I mean, you're just getting cosmetics if you pay for it. I'll see how far I get because I don't think I'm going to have enough time to complete the entire season, depending on how like the XP scales, how much time commitment it takes. So I'll probably see where I am, maybe buy it later.
I think a lot of it, since like I don't play Warzone. I think a lot of the draw there is that, like, you know, you're getting it in multiplayer and in Warzone. And then a lot of the stuff that they're offering, I think it's like a lot of zombie stuff too, right? Included in there, which I haven't really played much either. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll check it out. But very cool. You playing anything else? That's pretty much it, right? When you're not working, you're playing Black Ops?
Well, I actually checked out the Pokemon TCG Pocket.
Oh, nice.
So,
yeah. Is that something you'll stick with, you think?
I think so. I'm remembering now to check it every once in a while and see if I've got any new packs to open. At the beginning, it's great because they just throw the like microcurrencies at you and you're opening 10 packs at a time, and it's pretty fun. But I keep getting into these versus battles. I'm like level 8, and I'm getting paired against people who are level 14 time after time, and they're destroying me. So it's not very fun from that perspective, but I need to do that to progress.
Yeah, I did one like against a real person, and yeah, it was my deck was not even close to how good theirs was. So I just went back and I'm just doing against the computer, trying to like get the stuff I need to like build up and build better. But yeah, it's definitely fun. I'm gonna sound like last week. I'm very hungover again today, and I'm very tired again. And I know I said that last week, and I think it's the same reason, because the same thing happened, is that I drank too much, and I played Phasmophobia Friday night, and I'm playing it in VR, and so now it's on consoles, and I'm way behind. You know, it's been out for years, right, on PC? I feel like it's been out for a long time.
Yeah, it has.
And so now we're getting in there, me and my group of friends, and I'm playing on the PlayStation VR, and it is so much fun. I get the hype now. You don't get like, you see people like running around scared in like the gameplay videos that we've seen for years, and I'm like, all right, you know, it is what it is. And now I'm playing it, and it is so much fun, like trying to, you know, figure out like what's going on, and then getting destroyed by ghosts. But yeah.
I've never thought about it, but I can't imagine VR and drinking go well together.
Dude. Well, first of all, I got to get a straw for my beer, which is the first part. You can't drink with the headset.
Get some attachments with the headset so you can have the beers on the side.
Oh yeah, so it comes down. That's a good idea. I'm putting that in my notes. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun. And then last night, a lot more drinking. And I played a bunch of Black Ops 6. So both nights up too late, and then I'm up too early because I have a small child. Poor choices all around. The only thing that good choices are the games that I'm playing. I'm having fun with both of those. When I'm not playing on the console, I'm playing on my Steam Deck. Last week I talked about Vampire Hunters and how I was really enjoying that game. I am officially addicted to that game. I'm playing it a lot. I recommend it wholeheartedly. Anybody who's a fan of the Survivors genre. And then I started something new. I got a game called Monarchy. I was sent this review copy, and so basically it's a 2D strategy game, like a base builder type game. Have you ever played the game Kingdoms?
No.
Okay. So this game has been around for a long time, and it's you're like a king, and you command like these little people, and it's like this cutesy art style. So I was a fan of that game. I haven't played all of them. There's like a million of them. So I'm like, let me check this out. It's a new version of it. So I'm going to check this out, and it is meh. Very, very meh, especially in comparison. It's like, you know, it's like we have Kingdoms at Home type thing, because it's very limited in what it does. The gameplay is kind of boring. But like, it's all about getting enough currency to build like an outpost here, and then go collect supplies. But it's all in this 2D side-scrolling thing, and it's just you're going back and forth, and it's like, I don't know. It's not really doing it for me. But I'm gonna keep playing it just so I could put out a better idea of what my thoughts are on the game. But right now, I keep finding myself, playing it for a little bit, quit, open Vampire Hunters. That's where I'm at now. So
that's unfortunate. I feel like I could get into one of those city builders. It's like, there's a lot of good mobile games, but they're also time-based. I wish there was a full edition of that.
Right.
you're not on a timer and it just kind of works.
Yes. Yeah, that would be good where it's not, you're not paying money to like speed things up. Yeah. And that's what this is. Nothing really takes like that long, but it's just not very exciting, the amount of like issues you have. And there's not a ton of content there. I think there's 3 overall like missions. And I've done 2 of them. So about 10-hour game. But yeah, if that's a thing that intrigues you, check it out. If you've played Kingdoms before, check it out. But it doesn't really compare. So, all right. Anything else?
That's it. Let's move on to the new releases.
Let's do it. All right, first up, Mario and Luigi Brothership came out November 7th on the Nintendo Switch. So this is not developed by Nintendo. It's published by Nintendo. It's developed by Acquire. So it's interesting how that works. But it's Mario and Luigi. It's the 6th of the Mario and Luigi series, where it's more of like a role-playing game kind of idea with platforming mixed in. This one, you're out there exploring these islands, and you're on this ship, the brother ship. And yeah, you're just doing mini games and fighting bosses and finding secrets. And I've never ever once played a Mario and Luigi game. Have you?
I don't think so. What were the other ones called?
I don't know. They all had silly names, but they were all from handhelds. I think they were like either the DS and the and stuff like that. They were always on there. Never. I don't think there's ever been one on a console. But yeah. So this one, it's getting mixed reviews. About let's see, it's a 79 on Metacritic. So that sounds great. But I've read some where they're like IGN gave it a 5, dude. They're like the lowest that I've seen, and they just did not like it. But I watched a lot of like gameplay of it and some video reviews, and it looks fun. Like I'm definitely gonna put it on. I think it's a game that my son would enjoy. It's for that age, for a younger age, kind of like an entry level role playing game type. It's 40 hours long. One thing I'm seeing right now is that it is kind of like buggy. That there's some jank going on with the game. That's something Nintendo, if they were developing, they would never allow that to happen. But
so
we'll see.
If I think one of IGN's their biggest gripes about it was that it's a little too handholdy and it reminds you too often of like the story that's being told. But you have to consider the age group that it's for, and that back before we were adults with jobs who have to pound out the game, the 30-hour game in 30 hours, the first 30 hours that it's released. If you're a little kid and you're just playing 2 or 3 hours here and there across months of time, that's not such a bad thing. Maybe we, especially the reviewers giving 5 out of 10 or worse on this game, need to kind of take a step back and remember how the audience of this game is supposed to play this game or would generally play it.
Absolutely, dude. I think that's such a good point. It's not they have to, it's not a job. Like for us, as just playing a video game, we don't have time constraints. We don't have like to get this in. So if I get a little bored of it, I'm going to take a break and then I'll come back and so we have that luxury. So yeah, I think that is a great point that, you don't have to grind it out for 40 hours right off the bat. And especially little kids, they're not going to do that. So yeah, I think that's a very good point. But it's on my list. I will I'll look for a sale maybe closer to the holidays. I think it's something that my kid would dig. Trying to get the most out of these Switches at the end of the life cycle. So we'll see what else is coming out for that. I don't know what other games are on the horizon. All right, the next new release, Underground Garage, came out into early access on PC on November 7th. Now, I know we're including this one just for you. Now, I'm surprised you haven't bought this yet, because this seems like right up your alley. It's like a mechanic sim with tons of car customization, and then also you could race the cars. So it's like, it's got everything you like right there.
Right. Yeah, so this is one I've been following for a while, and this was like pre my gaming PC when I had like a much crappier PC. I got into like an early beta of this game. It was so poorly optimized, slash my machine was so shitty that it was awful. I couldn't even make it past like the first scene in the garage. So I've never been able to play it, although there is a demo available now that I'd like to see if it runs any better on my PC. But it's like it's a nod to back in the day with Need for Speed Underground and Underground 2, which I think is a lot of people's golden era of those games that made them fall in love with the series. And I'm definitely into that. The car customization. This one brings in way more mechanics of like car mechanic simulator from what I'm seeing. What I haven't seen much of is the racing, and I'd like to know what is that like? How well is like the arcade style racing done? Is it similar to the older Need for Speeds? Because if so, this could be a really great game. If it's not really buggy, I think it's done by like a very small time developer, and it's been worked on for quite a while right now. So we'll just have to see where it goes and when the full release is.
Yeah. So yeah, like you said, it's still in early access. And reading through the Steam reviews, you nailed it, dude. They're still saying it's very buggy, needs some optimization work, and then the racing is not great. It's real stiff right now. So yeah, this is why these games, get put in early access so that they could kind of work out this issue. Hopefully, we've seen a lot of games go in early access and just this is the game. I don't know. But yeah, I'm excited to see more. I like the idea of this, and if they could really get like an above average part of each one, like an above average racing game with an above average like simulator game mixed in, I think that's a great idea. It makes perfect sense. So hopefully they can figure it out. And then last up, Slitterhead. I cannot. I hate saying it. I don't know if I hate saying it or I love saying it. I'm still like I don't know. Slitterhead came out on PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One X and S on November 8th. This is an action horror game. The idea of it sounds super cool. It looks very cool. There's like these slitterheads that jump between humans and they possess them, and you play as like a spirit that also has to possess people to hunt the slitterheads. So the idea of it looks good. The visuals look great. I'm hearing it's not that good, that it's just not as fun as the idea presents itself. It's a little repetitive, a little hand-holdy throughout the whole thing, and it's definitely just not up to what our expectations were when we were presented with this idea. So it's at a 62 on Metacritic right now. So maybe this is one for a deep sale.
Yeah, I think this was by the developers of Silent Hill. So I mean, that alone lends something to this.
Sure. Yeah, and Gravity Rush. I think they also made that, which is an amazing game. So, yeah, it's unfortunate, but yeah, it's at least I don't have to say Slitterhead too often. Like if we're talking Game of the Year, Slitterhead, it feels weird coming off the tongue.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. And then one more thing, not a game, but a console. PlayStation 5 Pro came out November 7th. You got that advanced ray tracing. You got that PSSR for upgraded clarity on your 4K TV and your higher frame rate for your 120 hertz action for only $700 American dollars. I'm seeing great things. People that are getting it in their hands and playing some of these enhanced games. There's over 50 enhanced PlayStation 5 games. They're enjoying it. So, good. It's good.
I mean,
it's the most powerful gaming console out right now. That's what the claim is.
The couple of reviews that I've seen kind of say that it's understated. We're kind of glossing over some of the facts that do make it a little bit better than the original. But at the same time, it's like, do you really get what you're paying for with the extra $200? Plus, if you do want physical media, you have to have the disc drive separately.
Yep.
And they're not really packing everything in there that they could be for a pro console. I don't know. At the same time, I'm just kind of happy that it's coming out because I might be able to snag a really good deal on a regular PS5 now that people are going to be upgrading to this. If
Sure.
I don't know if the scalping is a issue with this. Have you heard anything on that?
Yeah, I have. In fact, I just saw an article saying that scalpers are taking a hit on this one, which is great. There's still, I looked it up. I could go to Target right now and get one. So it's pretty much everywhere. And I like it for a brief moment. I was like, should I get this? Like, but dude, that price tag, like, first of all, I don't even know if my TV is like up
4K
to
max HDR.
Yeah,
everything.
Like I got the 120 hertz whatever ability in there. I don't know the HDR and shit like that. I don't know, but to me, like I don't. If I saw it side by side, I'd be like, dude, yeah, I need this. But if I'm not looking at it side by side, I still think my games look fantastic. And they run great. But one thing when I do hear about it, how smooth, like with the high frame rate, how smooth games like Spider-Man 2 are, or like God of War and that sort of thing, and like how smooth the gameplay is, that intrigues me, that idea of it. Mm-hmm. But not $700 plus an $80 drive and plus a vertical stand I gotta buy. Like that part does not intrigue me. But yeah, I have a little FOMO. I'm a little jealous of the people getting it. So maybe someday when I win the lottery, or when this gets big, this podcast we're doing here, when they get big and they just send us one. Sony's just like, these guys, let's send them one.
Hey, we need to get some sponsors. If anybody out there's listening, it won't cost you much. Just send us $100. Exactly. We'll mention your ham.
Yeah, muscle milk.
Yes.
All right. Well, that being said, let's move things along and get into our news of the week. All right, first up, it's that time of the month, as they say about video games, when the Humble Choice comes out. $12 gets you a beautiful selection of PC games this month, including Warhammer 40K Darktide, Persona 4 Golden, Lamplighters League, Cassette Beasts, The Bookwalker, Thief of Tales, Karma Zoo, Hexarchy, and Garden Life. So a good assortment of games. This was a skip for me because I have a few of these, and the other ones I wanted, I traded for. But for $12, this is a steal of a deal. I rate this value 9 out of 10.
Yeah, it's also going to be a skip for me, even though there's a lot of gold in there. And I was just about to ask you, like, when you see these Humble Bundles with a game or two that you already own, for me, that's instantly like a hit to it. It's like, oh, it's worth so much less to me now. But because that's usually like the other games that I'm less interested in. It's like I could take it, like the Warhammer 40K Darktide. I'm really intrigued by that because I'm loving Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2, but I'm pretty sure it's a totally different type of game. And then Lamplighters League, I've had my eye on that for a while. So if there were maybe like one or two other games swapped in here, and one for Cassette Beast since I already have it, I think this would be a pickup for me.
Yeah, that's kind of exactly how I felt about it. But for me, it was like, so P4G, I platinumed that on the PlayStation Vita many years ago. It's an amazing game. And I didn't have any desire in the Warhammer game. So I did trade for Lamplighters League. I haven't tried it yet, but again, that one's been on my wish list for a while. And the Bookwalker, I traded for that. And I would like to get Cassette Beast because I have it on, I think it's on Game Pass still that I've played it. But I would like to have it for the Steam Deck. I think that would be cool. But ultimately, without the two, premium games, which is they usually do, two big ones and then a bunch of smaller indie ones. And this week, or this month, the P4G and then the Warhammer game, both, those were not calling me. So,
yeah, I'm
but
surprised
still,
you're not going for the deck builder there.
Which one is that?
Hexarchy 4X
I looked
deck
into it,
builder.
and it's less of a deck builder and more of like a 4X like military strategy kind of thing.
Gotcha.
And that I'm not that big of a nerd.
Gotcha.
And then moving along to Game Pass, another big month, a Game Pass. Metal Slug Tactics came out November 5th. That was a day one game. Go Mecha Ball came out November 6th. Harold Halibut, November 6th. The Rewinder, November 6th. And Turnip Boy Robs a Bank, all out on November 6th. And then Goat Simulator Remastered. It's a day one game, comes with Game Pass Ultimate on November 7th. And then Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, available day one on November 19th. So, yeah, a good game. A bunch of the returning games coming to the lesser tier of Game Pass. So it's getting more confusing how it works out with there's the Game Pass Core, Game Pass Standard, Game Pass Ultimate. The Ultimate is the one that gets the day one games. Standard gets everything else. And then I think they get the newer games. I think there's like a 60-day maybe waiting period until like the brand new ones go to Standard. So it's confusing, these announcements now. But yeah, go play games.
Yeah, and since Call of Duty, I'm now a Game Pass subscriber, so I'm paying more attention to how this works. And I think I'm on a completely different wavelength because I've got PC Game Pass, which seems to not be either of those three tiers. And then I'm looking at these new releases, and a couple of the games that I'd like to play the most, like Turnip Boy, Robs a Bank, and Harold Halibut, just says console and Xbox Series XS on those. So I don't really understand, like, I guess not as many titles are coming to PC Game Pass anymore.
I have no idea how it works out. Yeah, because the StarCraft games, those went to the PC, so it might be like the PC. I don't know, dude. But Flight Simulator, you gonna try that now that you have Game Pass? You ever get into those ones?
No, I'm intrigued, but I don't think I'm gonna play them. Not for me.
Yeah, I think me too. Like, I want to get in there and fly something, but I think just for like, I think it's gonna be a big file. Like, I don't know. Like, it's gotta be, right, dude? Like just for that.
The Earth. Yeah. I don't know if there's like some streaming or something that goes on. Just like pulls up the world around you as you're flying, but yeah, it seems like a lot of internet data.
Yeah. But when they announced it, it was like a few years back when they had like the ship from Dune you could fly in there, and I was like, dude, I want to fly that. So maybe I'll check it out. I have no reason not to, I guess. All right, that's it for our subscription services. Let's get into the real news this week. We got some news out of the Nintendo world. So what do you want to talk about? You want to talk about Switch 2 or you want to talk about Palworld? Because we got both.
Let's start with the Switch 2.
Let's start there. We finally got official information regarding the Nintendo Switch 2. In a corporate policy meeting on November 6th, Nintendo President Shuntaro Furukawa announced that the next Switch will have backwards compatibility. I know we've all been hoping and waiting for this announcement. I figure there's no way you're going to leave behind everybody that has had a Switch and all these Switch games. So this is great. It's good to have it officially announced, even though I think we all kind of assumed this would be the case. But yeah, and just the idea that we're getting official news now about the Nintendo Switch 2 is exciting because we haven't gotten any, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't come into it with any kind of preconceived notions about whether they would or not, because it's not really the Switch 2. That's just the label people are throwing on it for ease. So we have no idea what this upcoming console is going to be or look like or do differently than the Switch. So, I mean, I'm glad that it is going to be backward compatible. I did see, strangely, that their stock, like, good things were happening around this announcement, which surprises me because that's definitely not how you make more money if you're Nintendo. If you continue to do what they've been doing and resell everybody the same game every 5 months for a new console, then, or 5 years, I should say,
Sure.
That's how you make more money. So I'm surprised by the response, but I mean, I'm glad they're getting rewarded for doing the right thing instead of doing the wrong thing, which is usually how that works out.
Yeah. Yeah. The other thing, so they did also announce that Nintendo Switch Online would be continued to be used and available. So even that, like the thought that it's still, Nintendo Switch Online is that we're still getting the idea of it's going to be a Switch in that it's, handheld plus console is what, the speculation is. If they're still sticking with Nintendo Switch Online, it's most likely going to continue to be Switch. So that's also good news. But yeah, I mean, we're getting close to the point where they said they were going to have an announcement before the end of the fiscal year, which will be the end of March 2025. We're getting close to there, and I'm not entirely certain we're going to see something before then, but I hope so, man. I hope so, because like we said earlier, there's not much left coming out on the Switch, or not much left that they can do, so I really do hope we get some news soon. The other question that we're going to have, like cost, because this, especially in America now under the Trump presidency, in which he wants anything being created outside of the country to have tariffs imposed on it. So what does that mean for things coming out of Japan, or even just the, parts where obviously we're not making Nintendo Switches or Sony PlayStations in this country. So what is that going to do for pricing for us? We're going to have to go smuggle it in from Canada or something like.
Right. It's going to be kind of crazy if that goes through. And I have my doubts that it will, but if so, you're talking all technology, because like we don't even make semiconductors in the United States or something like that. We don't make processors. So everything. I mean, even if you want like Xbox, it's supposed to be an American company, but I don't think they're assembled or made here.
Chips.
I think they're made in Mexico. Yeah, the chips being imported from elsewhere too.
Yeah, so it's crazy. I don't know if that's going to happen, but it's going to be interesting to see what the future of technology and video gaming is under this presidency.
Right. And I mean, that's if that goes through the way we're talking about, then games are going to be the least of our concerns. It's going to be hard to afford groceries, toilet paper, the daily necessities.
Absolutely. Yeah, games are just going to be a bonus. So buy your shit now. Get it now before this happens. Stock up, because who knows where we'll be in a few years. All right, the other news out of Nintendo, Palworld developer Pocket Pair, they spilled the tea. They gave us the deets on what the lawsuit against them that from Nintendo was all about. So it's about specific patents. Now, this whole thing is very interesting. First of all, the dollar amount. Nintendo Pokemon Company want 5 million yen for each, basically a total of 10 million yen, which would be about $66,000. And that's because of these patents. The first one is about aiming and firing some sort of throwing a ball, basically, towards a person. The next one is about being able to capture creatures in the wild. And then the third one is about riding creatures in an open world. Those are the three patents that were filed that they want restitution for. Another thing I keep seeing is that the patents were filed after Palworld came out, which is, I don't know. I'm not like a lawyer or a businessman, but that seems shady. But then I've also read that they are part of a parent patent filed in 2021. That's more of like, this is just kind of adding stuff to that. So it's all sketchy. The one thing that we know out of all this is that this makes Nintendo look real bad. They definitely look like a bully in this situation. They look like one of those patent trolls that they're like, no, this is ours. We did this. Like, it's not a good look for Nintendo. All for their if that's all it is $66,000 and a possible injunction on its release.
Yeah, that's the
I
bigger
think
thing.
in Japan, I don't know if there's anything they could, because the lawsuit's filed in Japan. I don't know if they could do anything like as far as other countries. I don't know. Like I said, I'm no lawyer, but let me know what you think.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's hard to talk about without knowing a little bit more about how this works, because how the hell did they get these patents in the first place? They didn't invent riding on a monster. They didn't invent the butterfly net. They didn't. I mean, it seems kind of ridiculous on the surface, so it's hard to say without knowing more. But if it's just $66,000, then Palworld just paid them for the mechanic. And but when we're talking about an injunction and blocking the release, that's a whole different issue. It does seem like Nintendo's being pretty petty here, and not gonna help their reputation.
No, and Pocket Pair says we will continue to assert our position in this case through future legal proceedings. So they seem to want to fight this and feel like they have a chance of winning it, I guess, because it really does. I think a lot focuses on, can you patent this stuff like months after the game came out for features that other things use. I don't know.
Right. And if Palworld is guilty of it, we just talked about Cassette Beasts. We know that Cassette Beasts is very similar to the Pokemon concept, and you're capturing monsters. You just happen to be doing it on tapes there. So how many other games, especially like tiny indie developed games, are going to be guilty of the same thing? And possible, if Nintendo wins this one, who are they going to go after next?
Yeah, that's scary. It's a scary thought. It's a good thought. And a scary one, yes. Cassette Beasts, they're probably watching this trial pretty closely.
Yeah.
All right, next up, some exciting news for Steam users. Steam game recording is officially out of beta and available now. So this is pretty cool. It's just another option, when you want to take a snippet from your gameplay, you do something cool, bam. Clip it. You don't need all this other programs or technology running. It's all part of the Steam user system now. Yeah, you can start recordings manually just using a hotkey or set it to trigger automatically with options to restrict the length, quality, storage space that it uses. Valve says it works with any game, including non-Steam games, that allow Steam Overlay to run. So, yeah, pretty cool. It's got a bunch of advanced export options, the ability to configure game specific settings. So yeah, I think it's fun. It's available on Steam Deck and all the computers. So very cool.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you if you were going to start recording more footage from the Steam Deck for reviews and when you're making promotional TikToks and things like that.
Yeah, I really I will now. Absolutely. Previous to this, I had a third-party thing for recording it, and it was a little cumbersome, the way to do it, stuff like that. It wasn't terrible, but as far as the quality of the output and that sort of thing, it just wasn't great. So I'm excited to have this. I haven't checked it out yet. I haven't used it, but it's going to make things a lot easier, especially just to then, just send them, export them somewhere or whatever. It's going to be great. So I'm excited to try it out.
Yeah, I'm thinking about using it on PC. I mean, I already have the capability through Xbox Game Bar does the same thing. But if I could narrow things down and get this to be the least impact on performance as possible, and it being already through Steam, which I'm already running, that seems like a performance boost. Then I'll try to get it set up. But I just want to make sure that I can set it up as a PVR system and have it constantly recording and then go back and take the snippet if I want it. Because I don't want to record every minute of me fumbling around on Call of Duty, but when that awesome game happens, I'd sure like to have that footage.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's always been my go-to too. It's just 5-10 minutes, set it for something cool happens, hit it, and it records the last 5 or 10 minutes. And yeah, absolutely. That's the way to do it. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm going to mess around with it and I'll report back next week. All right, and then last up, we finally got some info on the long-awaited Mass Effect TV show. It was announced a long time ago, a few years ago, but on N7 Day this year, Variety put out an article talking about that it's finally happening. I don't know what to expect. There's really not a ton of actual news. They did confirm that Daniel Casey is writing it. He wrote 10 Cloverfield Lane. And then it's going to have some input from EA and BioWare execs regarding the game. The one good thing to note is that it's being done by Amazon MGM, and knowing what they did with Fallout, if they could, keep that level, that quality into this Mass Effect game, I think it's gonna be a banger, dude. Because Mass Effect on its own, the story there is such a good story, great sci-fi story, one of the best. And if it's in good hands, I think it could be an amazing show. So I'm excited to see more.
Yeah, I've not played the games. I don't really know that much about them, but I do know they're beloved. But hearing that it has ties to Cloverfield, I'd like John Goodman to be in this, please.
Oh, yeah, dude. He was so good in that 10 Cloverfield Lane. I mean, he's good in everything. But yeah, let's get John Goodman in there as Shepard, the leading man.
Just make it a Coen Brothers movie. I think that'll be a show.
There you go. Yeah, just
we'll
everything.
Get Steve Buscemi. We'll get Jeff Bridges.
Game. Sure. You just want Big Lebowski, too. That's all you got. Just
Mass Effect version of Big Lebowski.
Oh, yeah, Big Lebowski in space. I like this idea, and I think we should run with this. Let's put together
the dude abides in space.
Exactly. I think I'm going to write this down. Script for Mass Effect / Big Lebowski. All right. We'll work on that as well. We'll have a treatment for next week, and, we'll pitch that.
But yes, we will be acting. We'll be taking on the roles ourselves.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'll be playing John Goodman.
Yes.
All right. That's all I got. You got anything else?
Nah, that's it.
All right. It's time to get out of here, get back to Black Ops 6, I'm sure. Thank you so much for checking out this episode of Gaming News Weekly. Make sure you're going over to TikTok, subscribing there. We finally hit the big 1K followers, so we could do live shit now, which we couldn't before, and now we got to figure that out. I don't know how it works. One of these days when we have time, we'll mess around with it, and maybe we could do some extra shit. YouTube, Pop Culture Playground is the channel. Hit subscribe over there. You got this show coming at you every single Monday, complete with all the game trailers and, smiling, happy, beautiful, bearded faces. And then if you don't want to do that, you just want to listen anywhere podcasts are found, just type in GNW. This show will come up. You hit subscribe. That way every Monday morning it's there on your device, ready for your day, ready for your week, your drive to work, your gym. You just got you're ready. You got the news. And you're talking to people at work, like all the all the hot chicks and hot dudes. They're like, "What happened this week?" And you're like, "Mass Effect show's coming out," and they're like, "You are a nerd." I mean, oh yeah.
Oh.
So yeah, I think we got this. This is our first time actually acting, so we're just preparing for the Mass Effect thing. So yeah, we'll work on it. All right, that's it. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week.